more screen time than her. Survivor Specialist Phil and Alexa are back after what should have been two very exciting boots based on what we saw tonight, and ended up being two very boring boots on what is shaping up to, at least in my humble opinion.
Very humble.
Very humble. Not at all. Like, obviously, somebody humble only a humble person would come on this podcast and talk for an hour or more each week, right? But I'm going to say that this season is shaping up to be quite less than stellar. I'm not invested in really anybody left. We saw Chelsea win her second straight immunity and get 0 confessionals yet again, which we were late because we were doing some research. I've written down some numbers to throw by you people.
We crunched some numbers about what the context of purple means.
Yes, exactly. Because tonight, we'll talk about it. I want to save the suspense here.
Because something in this season needs some suspense.
Something needs some suspense. I mean, tonight we watched Michael go home and we watched Jenna go home. Vaughn and I said on the podcast on Sunday, I said 100 times out of 100, Jenna goes home. And I kind of convinced Vaughn and Alexa. I think you had her in spot 9 instead of 10, right?
I did. I actually had her high up because I thought her relationship with Sebastian would, quote unquote, save her, which really, that got nobody anywhere.
Yeah, that was great. That was really fun to watch. Like, I'm glad that we were hinted that Sebastian and her had a relationship, and we literally never saw it play out at all. And Sebastian was the one leading the charge to lie to Jenna, to vote Jenna out. And it doesn't even seem like, I mean, Jenna was pissed. It was also very awkward that she didn't even get to leave. She said, go sit down.
And then poor Des had to hug her, and she probably smelled terrible.
Probably smelled terrible. Yeah. I know. So we're going to have to talk. We're going to talk about, now I'm going to try to look at this from like an objective perspective. If it was a different cast, if it was a different circumstance, would these twists have worked? Because I don't want this to just be like a negative podcast.
I like it. No, I liked the double tribal. I'm going to put that out there. I like that.
Okay, let's just say this. I thought tonight's episode was very boring. I thought it was a very boring episode of Survivor. I think that this season really, it's going to be hard to redeem itself because now we're down to 8 people, and I don't care about 3 of them, I believe. Right?
You do or do not care about 3 people?
There's 3 that I don't like. 3 that I still. Sebastian and Chelsea are definite. Like, who cares? Angela has disappeared since her great episode.
I forgot about Angela.
Yeah, Angela's still out there. Remember, she was at a tribal council tonight.
Was she? Can anyone confirm that?
I mean, the problem is the best 5 people on the season all went to the same tribal council, and by best, I mean best edited. I don't because really at this point, like Donathan might be like top 1 or 2 for me at this point. Because at least he played the idol. He did this little snap thing. He was wrong. It was kind of funny. But at this point, like I might actually be all in on Donathan. But when I look at like the highest edited people on the season, all 5 of them were in the same tribal council. So like the other tribal council was like an appetizer. It was so bad. That was Galoo versus the Foa 4. I mean, because when you watched Samoa, Galoo literally never touched your screen, and Foa was everything for that entire pre-merge. That's what this felt like tonight. It was like, here's 2 tribals. Here's 5 people you literally know nothing about, and here's 5 people that you thought were going to go on to be the final 5, or were hoping would be the final 5. Like, how it shaped up that way, I have no idea. But, man, that really sucked.
Yeah, when those 2 tribes broke out, it was, I forget what you texted me. It was just like the power players versus the people who aren't on this season. I feel like that happened. And then the editors, like in the moment, were like, okay, this is what it's going to be. We're going to have all the power players be over here, all the other people be on the other side. And I actually think I loved what Jenna tried to do. Like I loved that Jenna went for it. Kind of like with Dez's move last week. I loved that Dez went for it, but she oversold it. And she also undervalued how nice Donathan is in that he thought, okay, maybe I will give you my idol. And then she just sold it so poorly that he was like, wait a second. No one just accepts that they're going home. Like, I really wonder how long that tribal went, because when Jeff said, he very well could have been exaggerating, but when Jeff said, this might be the shortest tribal council I've ever done, like, what were they there for, 20 minutes? And Jenna was like, yep, I'm going home. Yeah, it's going to be me. Yeah, that's it. Like, is that really just how that whole thing went down? I would love to know that.
Yeah, and it kind of seems like it is. I mean, this is what I'm talking about, though, with Donathan. And even with Chelsea, who we'll talk about, Donathan's just underestimated right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, Donathan, at this point, like, nobody's looking at him as a legitimate threat in this game. He pulled out that idol, every single person's jaw dropped. When he told Jenna that he had the idol, and he was willing to give it to her, she was like, what an idiot. He's so dumb. And it's like, he's really not.
Like, actually, you were his ally about 30 seconds ago.
And you really put all of your faith in Sebastian, who couldn't wait to throw you under the bus. Like, it's really weird how this worked out, because even after the immunity challenge happened, all we heard about was what was going to happen at that second tribal. And I texted you at the commercial break, and I was like, you think that, or I knew you had watched it, but I was like, do they ever talk about the first tribal council? Because literally nobody had said a word about that tribal, and that was going to be the first tribal. And they come back, we get very little. It's how they're going to lie straight to Jenna's face. And then Jenna like thought, oh, okay, well, I'll just throw this vote on Donovan. They could have gotten rid of Sebastian tonight. Donovan's plan kind of made sense if he would have actually gotten the word on who was the right person to vote for. I think that Donovan probably thought that Sebastian and Jenna's relationship was also better than it actually was.
I think everybody thought it was, except for Sebastian.
Well, yeah, because I think Sebastian telling Jenna they're voting for Donovan, or voting for Donovan, I think Donovan ate that up. I think he believed that, because he was like, why would Sebastian lie to Jenna? So I'm going to play this idol for myself, throw your vote at Sebastian, we'll make sure he goes home tonight. Now, why Donovan insisted on targeting Sebastian when he's probably assuming that Jenna and him are the closest, I have no idea. But this should have been a really dramatic tribal council, but because of the 5 people who sat there, and because I have no idea how any of them were related to each other at all, and because I really didn't have any connection to Jenna, it ends up being a really, really lame fizzle. Like, it sucked. I wasn't a fan.
It was, I wish that I can't believe I'm saying that. I wish we'd gotten more of Jenna and Sebastian. Actually, I can't believe I'm saying it, because like, there's this showmance floating around that apparently happened. And also, as soon as one of them or both of them are on the chopping block, they're the first people to throw the other one under the bus. And I thought there was going to be some cool, like, cross-tribal shenanigans going on, and there were none, because Jenna immediately threw Donathan under the bus and had this great plan, which I will stick by, but it's not a good plan when you are the only person who's executing it.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I do think that, like, why Jenna wanted to throw Donathan under the bus, I don't get. You think that was a great plan, or what plan did you
I liked her plan of saying, it's going for me, waste your idol on me, and then we're going to go for you. I really, really like that plan. But that's not a plan that can work when it's only one person. And were her and Donathan particularly close? I don't think they were. So I feel like that's also just kind of awkward. It was kind of like Michael talking to Laurel. Like, have they spoken? I don't think so.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest problem here. I think that if it was Laurel and Donathan, there's a better chance of this all working out correctly.
Yes.
But
I mean, this did work out for Laurel and Donathan. I mean, Donathan did lose an idol, but, he's still here.
But he also kind of made himself look a little bit better to those 3 members of the jury who sat there, because
they were impressed.
They were impressed that he had an idol. Like, even though he ended up playing it wrong, they were impressed he had an idol. Plus, if he plays it for Jenna, he actually does go home, because he got a vote. And who was the other one who got a vote there?
Sebastian. He voted for Sebastian.
Yeah,
that's right. So that's what I was explaining this. I was watching with my roommate. So he plays it for Jenna. There's 1 vote Seabass, 1 vote Donathan. They re-vote. They have to vote for Donathan, right?
They all vote for Donathan. Donathan's out of the
so he would have gone home.
Yeah, because Jenna would have voted for Donathan. Sebastian would have voted for Donathan. They all would have voted out Donathan. Or Sebastian wouldn't have gotten a vote. But Angela and Chelsea would have voted out Donathan before they would have voted out Seabass. So that would have been that. But what I'm saying is, Donathan's plan made sense if Jenna actually wanted to trust him. And I think Jenna picked the wrong time to make like this aggressive move. I agree with you. Like, it's a good idea, but the execution is going to be hard to pull off, because I guess she really trusted Sebastian more than she should have. I guess that's really what it comes down to. Because it's hard to pull off if you're really on your own.
Finish your sentence.
Well, I was just going to say, because her and Donathan were clearly on the bottom, at least to our perspective, I don't think she saw it that way. So when she's throwing the one person who's actually willing to be her ally under the bus, I feel like that actually is a bad move, because now you're throwing Donathan under the bus, which good. You're going to get the idol. You're going to play it right. But if he doesn't give you the idol, you're screwed. You have to have a backup plan. And that backup plan should have been siding with Donathan and voting the way Donathan told you to, because you knew Donathan was doing that. You assumed everybody else was voting for Donathan, but if they actually come for you and he gives you the idol, which is what you're hoping happens anyway, it cancels out those votes. And now all you did was create a tie between Sebastian and Donathan that literally doesn't change the game at all, because Malolo just ends up on the wrong side of the numbers again.
Yet again, exactly. Yeah, I think you make a good point in that it was the wrong group because apparently she and Laurel were fairly close, another relationship that I had no
Mhm.
clue about. But I think you're right. If it was Laurel instead of Donathan, if it was her and Laurel or her and like say Stephanie Johnson still here, then she has a little more of a shot. But doing a plan by yourself in Survivor, I cannot imagine that works very often. I can't think of how many times it's happened, but just having a plan and requiring four people who are all unrelated to do what you're expecting, the odds of that are just so incredibly low.
Exactly. Exactly. And
Mhm.
it's you're putting a lot of faith in people that really haven't ever shown you a reason to trust them at
Yeah.
all. Why did
And
Angela and
then
Chelsea do?
yeah, I don't know. And then she walks in tribal council and she walks in and the first thing she says is, "Yeah, I'm going home." Like that is the ultimate red flag. Nobody talks like that. At this point in Survivor, we're 36 seasons in, nobody just accepts that they're going home. So I thought she overshot it and they probably had to the editors probably had a field day with this, but they kept cutting to Jonathan like looking confused, looking a little sketchy. And to me, I was like, he's gonna buy this in a second. He's a smart guy.
Yeah, and I think what it is I think that Jenna kept saying that because she was assuming that nobody else knew that Donovan had that idol. So Jenna can keep sitting there saying, "I'm going home, I'm going home, I'm going home," to keep like playing it up for Donovan. But like you said, she overshot it because Donovan could see through it because of the relationship that she had with Sebastian. I mean, if Donovan's thinking at all that she has a relationship with Sebastian, then he has to be saying, "God, this sucks. I need to play this idol for myself. I don't have a choice."
Mhm. And you know what? I'm glad he kept his idol. And there were a lot of funny, lot of funny idol business going on because we have Michael straight up asking for his idol, and he's like, "LOL, no,
No.
you're not getting my idol." Which maybe like I get. No, I'm glad that Michael was like, you know what? You got to shoot your shot. Miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Like, I totally get that. But no, you know what? I'm totally fine with Jonathan playing his idol. I know he didn't play it correctly, but there were five people. It was a 1 in 5 chance of him going home. Like you got to play it in that
Well,
situation.
it's really it's a one. He's got to be thinking it's a 1 in 2 chance of him going home.
Yeah,
You know, it's either him or
exactly.
Jenna, or he somehow pulls off the numbers and Sebastian goes home. He knows it's not going to be Chelsea, and he knows nobody's voting for Angela,
Mhm.
so he needs to play that idol. So at least to give him or Jenna a chance to stay and send Sebastian home.
Yeah, exactly. And so I guess since we're talking about an actual idol that was played, do we want to move on to the next tribal council where there wasn't an idol? Even though
Yeah, and
everyone's talking about this idol, but how many seasons in are we? In this season, people have been asking for proof of an idol. In the season, people have been asking for the paper of an idol.
Mhm.
And Michael says that he is an idol and people are just believing it? That's ridiculous.
He came across very sound in his when he was just like, "I have an idol. I'm telling you that right now. I'm not going home tonight." And he didn't stutter. He didn't weaken to it. He said it straight out. And when you're at a situation where there's only now you're Kelyn and Michael's telling you that, and Dominic has immunity. So now you're thinking to yourself, wait, I could possibly have a 1 in 3 chance of going home tonight. I think that's why it worked well here. I think that's why it was more believable because Michael doesn't have to say doesn't have to show them the idol. He just has to say I'm going to use it. There's no way I'm going home tonight. And you know what? Let them take the risk if they want to. Because let's say Michael did pull out an idol, Kelyn did the right thing tonight. I still think Kelyn made the right move. I think she's completely over paranoid, but to put both her votes on Laurel was a really good idea because that ensures that if Laurel and Michael both decided they were going to vote for you, there's going to be a revote no matter what.
Mhm.
Like you're ensuring that that happens because that's 2 votes on you. You ensure that 2 votes go on Laurel, and then you hope the other 2 votes go to Michael. So you're ensuring that a revote happens no matter what, even if Michael plays his idol and they paired up against you. So this was the right move. It's
Yeah.
just it's a shame that people couldn't convince people to vote out Kelyn. Like I wish that Laurel, Dom, and Wendell and Michael would have been able to say, let's vote out Kelyn, just out of
That's
fear
where I
because right
thought
now
they
it's
were
so
going with
small.
it. That's where I thought they were going with it because Michael tells Count about the idol. And then Dom, like to me, Dom was a voice of reason. He was like, well, did he show you his idol?
Mhm.
And Count was like, no. And but even at Tribal, like when I think it was Jeff straight up said to him, Jeff was like, Michael, why aren't you showing anyone your idol? And he had an answer, and yeah, it was like political and kind of good. But I don't know if I would have put my votes on him, but I wouldn't have bought that because at this point in this show, if you don't show someone an idol, people are not going to believe that you have it.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, people aren't going to believe it, but you still want to be in a situation where like I guess you have the option. I'm trying to think of the word that I want to use here. I completely not zoned out, but I like blanked on what I was trying to say here.
Yeah, give me the context. I'll try to figure out the word.
I'm just thinking like with how Michael did this today. What was his end goal? Like he's trying to say like, guys, don't vote for me because of this, but he votes for Wendell instead of Kelyn. So like, was he not able to
Why did he vote for Wendell?
I don't know. Was he like not able to talk? Was he not able to talk to Laurel? Because Laurel ended up voting for Kelyn. And like, how come Laurel has no pull? Like, I get you want to get Michael out because he is a huge threat to go on to win the game. And yeah, he's sitting here at Final 10 and he could find an idol and he's very likable, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
I think those are all wonderful reasons to get rid of stuff.
No, these are all great reasons. But at this Final 5 situation, you got to have some paranoia going through Final 5, but 5-person tribe where one person's immune. So you have a 1 in 4 shot of going. You have to have a little paranoia about throwing your votes on somebody who has an idol. I mean, that has to be scary. And I think Michael wanted to keep the paranoia alive because as you saw, 4 people, every single person who could get a vote there did get a vote.
Yeah.
And I think that had a lot to do with Michael keeping the paranoia alive.
I did think that was really cool. Yeah, you bring up a good point. I wonder why Laurel voted for Kelyn and why Michael voted for Wendell. Like, why didn't they bond together, as you said? Because I think you do have a point. I think you are right. Like, if there's 11 people at a tribal council, why even bring the attention to yourself of saying I have an idol? Because then at that point, you're just attracting votes. Like, you're challenging people. But in this situation, you're right. There are so few people. But how did he pick Wendell? And why did Laurel pick Kelyn? It doesn't make any sense to me. And why? Yeah, I guess why you just explained why Kelyn didn't vote for Michael and instead put it on Laurel. And as like we figured that she was going to use her extra vote tonight, which it kind of sucks because it technically didn't really work out. It did tie it up, which made it exciting because then the whole jury was like, wait a second, there's 6 votes, and you see Dom kind of like cock his head when Jeff reads the last vote. But then as soon as it went to the revote, I knew it was Michael going home. It was
you knew Michael was going home, and I'll be honest with you, I like zoned out halfway through the tribal because I was just like, I know Michael's going home here. Like, there's no way that they're pulling this because we haven't seen Laurel and Michael put a plan together. But the reason why I think Kellen's extra vote did work because although it just tied it up between Michael and Laurel, it really did offset the fact if Michael played an idol. Because if Michael plays an idol and Kelyn decides that she's going to actually vote for Michael instead, putting 3 votes on Michael, she's assuming that Michael and Laurel were voting together and we're going to put their votes on her. So if that's the case, then she goes home 2-0. So by doing this, she ensures that if Kelyn and Michael team up, or if Laurel and Michael team up, then Kelyn ensures that somebody else ties with her, as opposed to if Michael plays his idol, because that 3rd vote at that point doesn't even matter. So I think this is absolutely the right move by Kelyn. I don't think she could have done it any better because she saves herself here because she knows that if it goes to a revote, they're not going to vote for her. And if she got votes from Michael and Dom anyway, she was going to go home and didn't have a chance to begin with.
I am curious why they didn't end up going for Kelyn. Because Dom and Wendell, excuse me, and I guess Laurel too, I assume. Actually, no, maybe Laurel wasn't on the Michael train. Maybe Laurel has some connection to Michael and said, hey, like, he'll probably go home. I just don't want to be the one to vote for him. It could have been a situation like that. I really don't know. I'll definitely want to know more about that. But where was I going? Oh, yeah, I wonder who Kelyn, like, who she wanted to go home. Because I know
she wanted Michael to go home.
Last week, it was all about Michael. I think she wanted Michael to go home, too. She was probably just saving her butt in the process.
She was all saving her butt because everybody wanted Michael to go home. I mean, that's what they kept saying. This is a very straightforward vote. Like, let's get rid of him as soon as we can. Why would we keep him around anymore? We've kept him around long enough. Like, let's just get rid of him. That's all they were thinking. So I think this is a very straightforward vote. Let's get rid of Michael. Let's make it happen now. Like, why not? And it's the right move to get rid of Michael here. It's just you wonder why – you wonder if Laurel and Michael could have done maybe a little bit more to try to push it on to Kelyn because they could. I mean, Kelyn looks paranoid and looks scared, and maybe Kellen's not as much of a threat to win the game as we thought, as she might have been a couple weeks ago. And that's why Dom and Wendell were just like, forget it. We'll keep her around. She's so worried about this Navidi Strong thing. Like, who cares anyway? She's never going to vote us out. I mean, honestly, we're at a point where we might get down to the final 6 people. They all are going to be Navidi, and Kelyn might just start revoting off the Malolo people. Because she's just going to be like, no, I can't vote for a Navidi. It needs to be Malolo all the time, every time. Like, it just has to be Malolo. I'm sold on it.
And that's what happened. We lost 2 Malolos tonight. There's only Laurel and Jonathan left.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah, it's just Laurel and Donovan. And of course I'm looking over the live chat. I love how people think that like Kelyn again is like LVP. It's like
Oh my God.
listen to
I'm
the
not
explanation.
involving myself.
No, but just listen to the explanation. Her reasoning is sound. I mean, yeah, she's losing her mind, but the reason she's losing her mind is because she is the one who would be going home if Michael plays the idol. So that's why she's losing her mind.
So we'll talk about MVP, LVP, but do you know who actually was the real LVP? That would be you, who was our guest picker for the Eliminator game. And you picked your boy Michael.
Hey, I went for the big move. All those other survivors were weak.
Jeff appreciated that you went for the big moves.
I went for the big move. Everybody else was just like playing it safe, whatever. I mean, you know what?
I actually might be able to pull this out. I actually think I might pull it out.
I think you might. You have like good amount of people left.
I have 3 left. Vaughn has 2, and the guest has 3.
No, the guest is out.
Oh, the guest is out. Oh my gosh, it's me versus Vaughn. This is wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. Forget that.
Oh my God, I might win the Eliminator game.
You know what? I knocked the guest out because that's
what happened. On purpose.
We didn't get 2 survivors. We 2 weeks in a row we didn't get a survivor, so forget that. I'm knocking them out. Goodbye, survivors.
Too bad. Want to talk about the immunity challenge? That's kind of the only other thing that happened.
No, I want to talk about Chelsea first because Chelsea wins immunity. So yes, it kind of leads into it. Yes, so Chelsea wins immunity. We can talk about the breakdown and everything, but what I want to talk about is this: the second time Chelsea's won immunity. And for everybody keeping track at home, Chelsea has 3 confessionals through 11 episodes. 3.
The entire season.
3. And I'm counting, this is, we normally don't, but I'm saying that this is episode 11 because that first premiere was 2 episodes. So through 11 episodes, Chelsea has 3 confessionals. Now, to put this into perspective, everybody wants to say, oh, it happens every season, it happens every season, it happens every season. No, it does not.
It does not, everybody.
No, it does not, because we were doing a little math, a little research, because, we have like our little stat boy. We're professional.
We're specialists, one would say.
So for anybody who would think, well, Sunday and Will were invisible, through 11 episodes, Sunday Burquist had 10 confessionals. Through 11 episodes.
Question for you. Could you tell me how many confessionals Purple Kelly had?
Oh, wait. I want to build to that. So hang on. Will Wall had 9 confessionals. Joe DeCampo had 12 confessionals. Zoe from Marquesas had 5 confessionals. Whitney had 4 confessionals. That's more than Chelsea. And Purple Kelly, for all of you who want to harp on this, Purple Kelly, the 11th episode of her season was the episode she went home. And she got 4 confessionals in that episode, putting her at 5 total for her season. So Purple Kelly has more confessionals through 11 episodes than Chelsea by 2. By 2.
Hashtag justice for Chelsea.
I mean, look, I know that some people don't come across on TV as well as others. I get that. That's fine with me. You're going to have some duds on every season, or you're going to have some people whose storyline just doesn't fit into the story. I think that was Sunday's. Sunday just didn't fit into the story. There was nowhere to give her more time necessarily because of who went to the end, and none of them were ever really aligned with her. But Chelsea right now has been working with Navidi the entire time. She's won 2 immunities, and she's been on the right side of most of the votes. And to give her 3 confessionals through 11 episodes is it's absurd. I mean, it's to the point now where I almost hope she doesn't get another confessional so that the uproar is so loud that somehow Jeff Probst hears it from his mansion in whatever hill of California he lives in. And he says to himself, you know what? We actually do need to give some screen time to everybody on the show, because we complain about Sunday and Will, and Sunday and Will had 3 times as many confessionals up to this point as Chelsea. 3 times as many. That is absurd. That is out of control.
Chelsea is probably making it to the finale. I'm saying it. I know we were talking about how Angela might be the quiet one who slips in. I think it could be Chelsea because, as you just said, Chelsea has been heavily involved in almost every single vote this season. She has had a hand in almost every single person who's been voted out, except for, actually, no, she got Jenna voted out. She wasn't involved in the Des vote, and she wasn't involved in, what was it, the Chris vote?
The one before that. Yeah, the Chris vote.
Which one was she wrong? So she was wrong.
Oh, no, she was right. Was she right in Chris and it was Des who voted wrong?
It was Des. I don't know. She was wrong
Des
twice.
voted wrong. But,
she was wrong twice. She's been to 10 tribal councils at this point, 9 or 10 tribal councils. I said this last week, and you just said it too. I understand that Chelsea may not have the entertainment and charisma that Chris has. I get that, and that's fine. I don't need a season with 20 Chris's on it. I like a little diversity in my cast of personalities. So why have Dominic tell me for the 17th time in one episode that here's what I'm thinking about voting? Great. We move on from Dominic because we had a great like Dominic and Wendell thing going on at the Immunity Challenge, and that was wonderful. But I know Dominic. He told us 4 times tonight that he's playing for his wife and kids, which is wonderful. This has nothing to do with the content. It has everything to do with the fact that we were told 4 times that he's playing for his wife and kids. What's Chelsea playing for? What does Chelsea do for work? Is she an EMT or a cheerleader? I still don't know that. Nobody seems to know that. Does Chelsea miss her family? Who is her family? Who is her loved one going to be? Like, there are all these questions. Who does she want to go to the end with? Who wants to take her to the end? There's so many questions floating around her. And the reason that I feel like we're focusing on her so much is because she just legitimately does not exist. And as Phil just showed you, we did the math. Nobody has been edited as poorly as Chelsea has ever in Survivor.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, and that's it, you make a great point there. It's like I want to know at least something about her. Like you feel for people when they get nothing, and I'm not one of those.
Really bad for her.
I'm not one of the Reddit people who's like on there like, oh my god, this is the episode we deserved. You know, like I mean, I get it. Reddit is having fun with it. I'm sure there's some people who actually believe that like Chelsea should be like a huge part of every episode, but like. She should have at least like 6, double her confessional count up to this point. Give me 1 confessional in each episode that she won immunity. Give me 1 confessional at the merge, and she's at 6 confessionals. Give me 1 confessional in the premiere, and we're at 7 confessionals. Like, this isn't asking for much. And like, I get, like, we're still seeing what's so bizarre about the Chelsea edit is it's actually not an invisible edit. Which is really hard to like explain.
Because we're seeing her, they're showing her us.
She's talking in every single episode. She is looking at the camera and speaking what she believes about so-and-so or who she thinks should go home. Tonight she had that one on the beach where she was sitting there with Jenna and Sebastian saying, we're definitely voting out Donathan. Like, and she was the one who was driving that. She's getting screen time when she's at Tribal Council. She's winning the immunity challenges.
She talked to Tribal Council. Jeff asked her a question. So what I find, though, just to be so insane is that they can't give her a confessional. Because, like, somebody like Sunday was invisible in episodes. Will was invisible in episodes. Whitney was invisible in episodes. Purple Kelly literally did not exist for at least 5 or 6 episodes on the show. So I would say we know Chelsea better than Purple Kelly for sure. But why can't they just give her like 1 or 2 things where she says, this is what I'm thinking? Like, there's no way. I would love to know what she's thinking.
Because even if she's the most boring person they've ever put on this season, she could literally be the most boring thing of all time. Still, 3 confessionals. That says she's the most boring survivor of all time. And she doesn't quit, or she hasn't yet. So, like, what is going on? She's absolutely killing it in challenges. Like, I'm just confused.
Crushing challenges.
Yeah.
She's done very well in both the challenges she won. It's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. And and like you said, like I'm not like this wild rabid Chelsea fan, but I was texting this to Phil too. I was like, I don't know if she's a super fan or not. I believe she is a fan of the show. I don't think she was a crew, but I could be wrong. You finally get to realize like your dream of getting on the show. You win. First of all, you're in the majority. You're on the majority throughout the merge. And then you win 2 individual immunities, which only so many people can do. And 1 year later, like you're not even on the show. It's insulting. And I just feel so bad for her because she's doing stuff. Like if she was doing nothing, if she was like threatening to quit every single week, like I'm trying to think like Shamar, then fine, don't show me her. But she's so involved. And I get that she's boring, and I get that, like, okay, Bradley and Kelyn are making all the decisions for her in the marriage, in the pre-marriage. That doesn't change anything for me. That doesn't change. I still need to hear her opinion.
Yeah, because, like, Purple Kelly ends up quitting, and in her quit episode, Purple Kelly had more confessionals than Chelsea's had all season. So, like, that's pretty wild. I mean, that's pretty crazy. I mean, I don't know. I'm just, like, Tonight was the first time I was actually like, you know what, this is frustrating. Because last week it's like,
It's
wow,
just
they didn't
insulting.
yeah, like last week they didn't give her a confessional and like she won immunity and it's like, okay, that's annoying, but like what's going on? Tonight when like she's going to tribal with five people and she's the only one immune, we don't even get her saying like, I'm so glad that I'm immune in case somebody has an idol or in case Jenna's able to side with Sebastian or I'm glad that Sebastian isn't actually as close with Jenna as she thinks. Like we couldn't get anything from her, like anything. There were five people at that tribal council. I still cannot believe that we actually watched those five people in one tribal council and like we're supposed to like care. And like, I'm sorry to those five, but like, I watched that and I was like, oh my God, like what am I doing here? Like, this isn't worth it. Like Donathan played an idol. That should be like a huge epic moment. And instead it was just like, we knew that he was going to play it for himself. Cause if Donathan goes home there, we literally don't know any of the other four. And that means all of them escape this episode. Like there's no way that happens.
Yeah. You bring up a good point with the idol thing. This kind of popped into my head, but I want to say one last quick thing about Chelsea. When you said that she's not invisible, you brought up a very good point because we do know Chelsea better than we knew Whitney or better than we knew Purple Kelly because we're seeing her talk, we're seeing her in conversations, which is almost more insulting. Like I would rather we get a long-winded confessional from her and then maybe not see her because they're pretty much saying that her in the background is enough, which to me, it's not enough. Yeah. But then going back to the Jonathan Idol thing, and this might be like more existential, it might be worth exploring in the off season, but I wonder if it's because we're at maybe an idol overload. I think I've seen so many fun idol plays that a standard idol play to me it's now fairly normal. Like when Dom and Wendell started talking to each other, they started whispering, it didn't do much for me. And like 2 seasons ago in Game Changers, I was like, oh my God, they're all talking to each other, they're all whispering. And you know what? This happened tonight, and I was like, whatever, they're talking.
No, and I totally agree with you. I mean, there's something to be said. Like they've made it so much about the big move that you've almost become numb to the big move. It's like being like you're like an addict, and it's like, you know, like you hit this point where it's like, okay, like that's no longer doing it for me. We need more. And like honestly, I think the best thing for Survivor right now is to actually do like go cold turkey and like almost do like a reboot. You're not going to lose the fan base that you have. Bring back all returnees for a season and only have like 2 idols on the season and nothing else. See what happens. I'm telling you, they could do that, and I honestly think that Survivor fans would like it because try it out with returnees to like make sure it's safe.
I would not want to do it with
you could do that because if you really look at it, look at Heroes versus Villains. How many idol plays were there that season? 3, 4? Like there weren't nearly as many as we're getting. Now we're getting an idol play every episode, and it's just like okay. And like not only that, we're sitting there knowing that Wendell and Dominic still have idols.
And Dominic, this is one thing we didn't talk about.
Yeah, we didn't talk about it.
He has a real live fake idol, which if I got that, I would be pissed.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
Dominic's probably the only person on the planet who's happy about that.
Well, he's happy because he has a real one.
And if that was Michael, he also has a previous fake idol.
Yeah, and if that's Michael, it's infuriating.
Oh my God, yeah, could you imagine?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I don't know. I thought I liked how they did the whole like it hasn't yet matured because it's only 3 seasons old. So like, I mean, like, I guess I prefer that over him getting a real idol. I guess I'll say that. But yeah, if I'm a player, I'm like, this is a bunch of BS.
Well, there's really no reason either because what's it going to do? Just make somebody confident? Like I know it made Jay
already has a fake idol.
Yeah, and like I know it made Jay super confident on Millennials vs. Gen X, but they were voting for him no matter what. Even if he had a real idol, they were still going to end up voting for him.
Yeah, you know, Jay probably was the most exciting part of this episode.
He was. Watching that reminds me why I love Millennials vs. Gen X so much. Like, and really, we had a solid run of like 3 really solid seasons after 2. I'll probably get yelled at for this, but 2 like meh seasons, which was Samuel Del Sur and Worlds Apart. Then we had 3 very, very good seasons, and now we've had like 3, I would say, bottom tier seasons. I mean, I forget where we ended up putting Heroes vs. Villains and Game Changers in our power rank or in our season rankings when we were done. But I'll tell you what, Ghost Island, it started off like up here, and it has just been like it is.
And I I what week did we have our huge Ghost Island debate? Do you remember? Was that like around the merge time? I think it was a little before the merge.
Yeah, it was. I think it was right after Chris did his, or maybe it was right before Chris did his thing, or right after Chris did his thing. But like,
I think it was before because I loved when Chris did his thing.
Yeah.
No Ghost Island this week. Maybe we have two more episodes.
3 more, I think.
3 more episodes.
It's the 9th, the 16th, the 23rd. So 3 more episodes.
Like, when are they gonna go to Ghost Island in the finale?
Like I'll be honest,
Like
Ghost Island was a dud.
I was a vehement defender of it, and I'm kind of mad on it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, everybody knew I was going to be right on that. I mean, that's not shocking. I know how to get Alexa riled up at 1 a.m. So let's get that going.
I am very ready to fall asleep.
Yeah, but well, I mean, that's how I felt for the previous 2 hours. I mean, but really, like this really isn't. I really don't think this is the cast's fault. I think that Bradley ruined the season in the pre-merge because he voted out every likable person and then got himself voted out. Like, all he had to do was hang on one more vote. So, like, really, if you think about it, if Bradley actually goes home instead of Brendan at that third vote, this is probably a much more interesting season because we don't have this Navidi Strong BS. Because the Navidi Strong BS is actually making the season boring because we don't know half the Navidis. Like, so it's not doing anything for us. Sebastian and Chelsea aren't doing anything for me. Angela finally started to do something for me, and then she disappears. Like, how am I supposed to feel about Kelyn? Am I supposed to love Kelyn, or am I supposed to hate Kelyn? I really don't know. And, like, I'm not surprised that there are people.
They're trying to make us not like Kelyn because she was very chopped up tonight. Like, the way that, like, I think she was having it was during her conversation with Dominic where she was saying Michael as an idol. Dominic said something like fairly logical back to her, and it was a very clear cut. And you have her being like, blah, 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 like freaking out. That was a very clear cut into conversations. Yeah. So I believe she's paranoid, believe she's like, there's a lot of like, I get why people are saying she's erratic, but tonight I especially noticed they were really trying to rile her up.
And what do they have in the next episode? Like, for the next time on, it's like her like stomping her feet and like yelling.
Oh yeah, I think she was talking about Dominic or Wendell or something. Yeah, that was.
The reason that they have to do this, though, is because at the beginning we were supposed to like her, and then she's going to end up failing in her Navidi Strong thing, so they have to show her downfall in some way.
Yeah, that was it. They had a confessional where she said, oh, the Navidi Strong's no longer, and it's like, no shit, that was going to happen because you voted everybody else out.
You voted everybody else out.
This happens every season.
The person that should have made you want to be Navidi Strong went home before the merge even hit. So, like, why are you still being Navidi Strong? And I think, like, right now, honestly, Laurel, Donathan, Wendell, and Dominic are playing really good games because nobody knows that they're actually all aligned.
I can't believe nobody knows that they're still
nobody knows. Like, Wendell and Kelyn having that talk, I was like, this is actually going to get Kelyn voted out of the game because she does not realize how tight Wendell and Laurel are. Like, she has no idea.
I'm like all in on Laurel now because now, like, Wendell and Dominic, to me, it's like so obvious that one of them's going to win. It's so in my face, which is why I want it to be Laurel because I want to be a little surprised.
Yeah, and you know what? Laurel would actually be
Laurel's playing a great game.
Yeah, she's playing a great game. And I think that like Donathan tonight, like when Michael asked him for the idol and stuff, and Donathan was like, no, absolutely not. Like, Donathan's reasoning was great. And like Donathan's not getting as much credit as he deserves for like his actual gameplay. Donathan's been playing a really solid game throughout. He knows who his allies are, he knows who he's working with, he knows why he's working with them. I think he's playing a really solid game, and he was 100% right. Michael, if you take this idol, it's going to get it back around. That's my idol. Like, I can't have that happening. That's ridiculous. Plus, as soon as Donathan gives it to Michael, that's Michael's idol.
Yeah, exactly. Donathan would have never given him that idol. Like, who would have done that? It's 2 separate tribal councils. What if Michael just didn't play it and then kept it?
No, absolutely. He could have. And then he gets voted out with an idol. And then, Donathan needed it for himself. Donathan knew he needed it for himself.
Yeah, so. And again, are Michael and Donathan close? I haven't seen them speak yet.
I don't know. Yeah. No, I mean, it's rough. And like, I don't think it's so much what's been bothering me in recent seasons is it's not really so much the cast's fault. It's more of like the twists and turns being thrown in fault. Like, especially on this season, like there's so much going on and there's so little editing going towards so many people. And we're only hearing, like, we've heard Kelyn say Navidi Strong at least 500 times this season. No hyperbole here. We've heard Dominic talk about like his wife and kids, like you said. We've heard Wendell say that he's tight with Laurel so many times. We've heard Laurel say that she's confused so many times. And we've heard Donathan say like, I'm doing this for me, and like I have an idol, and like whatever. But like we're not hearing like personal things. We're not hearing like life things. We're not hearing like who they are as like people that's making them do this. Like, yeah, I guess Dominic's kids and wife and stuff is one thing, but like we're not getting like this huge emotional content from him. It almost seems like, okay, great, he's doing it for his wife and kids. Good job, Dom. Like,
and that's what I really liked about Heroes vs. Healers vs. Hustlers. And I know Joe Mano will be the first one to say it's because no one was strategizing. But you know what? I liked it. I had an emotional connection to Chrissy. I had an emotional connection to Ryan. I understood Joe. I really liked Ashley because I thought she was relatable. I thought Devin was super cool and way different from everyone else in the cast because I knew them personally. I liked watching Alan try to whack a coconut 50 times. That was just really cool. And again, like we're kind of getting character moments in this season. I think the Heroes vs. Healers vs. Hustlers was kind of a bounce back from the whole Game Changers issue.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is like, again, I really liked that about Healers HHH. Like I thought that was a great part of the season. And like, I don't know, there's no emotional content here. There's nothing. I like Laurel, but that's just because I'm drawn to her and I feel like she's someone I'd actually want to hang out with.
It almost feels like you're not watching Survivor at this point because there hasn't been anything like camp related. There hasn't been anything shelter related or chopping up a coconut related. Like you said, like that Alan thing, just that little moment had like a big impact. Like even Ben, like with like the PTSD and stuff, like those are big moments. You can say what you want about Ben, but Ben had really solid moments on his season, like to make him a winner. And like, I'm not saying Dominic and Wendell and Laurel are all bad players or boring by any means. It's just we're getting the same content from them every single week. And it's like, what's their development? Where are they going with this? Like, it just seems like I'm watching the same episode every week and it doesn't feel 100% like Survivor. And it's really weird and it's kind of a bummer. I mean, tonight should have been two really exciting boots. If they had built up Laurel, or not Laurel, if they had built up Jenna, if they had built up Chelsea, if they had built up like that whole first like tribal, that should have been a really exciting boot where you're going, oh my God, is it going to be Donathan? Is it going to be Jenna? Instead of being like, I really don't care. Just get to the good one. Please fast forward because I want to know if it's going to be Kelyn, Laurel, or Michael. Like by not giving us anybody in that first tribal, it's like, who cares that they even went? Like this was the worst season to do the split because I don't know if it actually works or not because the first tribe that went was literally like, who are these 5 people or who are 4 of the 5 people?
And also that first boot, I mean, the whole thing that was like kind of cool was, so in that immunity challenge, they broke it up into 2 tribes, which I surprisingly got right. I did not expect that to actually happen. And then there was like, oh yeah, you get this added twist. And I was so ready for Jeff to say that you get to eat in front of everybody, but unfortunately it didn't happen. But that first tribal happens and then Jenna goes straight to the jury. So everyone gets to see that. And that even lost its suspense because it's like, oh, guess what? A Malolo went home. That's a new one.
Could you imagine if that was Sebastian who got booted there?
That would have been awesome.
They'd be crapping their pants. I mean, they'd be going crazy.
They'd be freaking out.
Like I said, it's not so much the cast's fault, although I guess the cast being so Navidi strong is annoying. But this is why I'm all for give me 3 tribes to start every single time. Give me 3 tribes to start because on a 3-tribe season, you are much less likely to get this kind of pagonging. And Laurel and Donathan have clearly worked their way in with Wendell and Dominic, and that's going to be a rude awakening for Kelyn next week, who's going to go home. But I really think that, like, you have created a situation where you started off with Navidi, you started off with Malolo. Malolo lost all the tribals, or lost all the challenges, and then they were outnumbered on both tribes. They get picked apart one by one. And now you're in a situation where, like, they never had the numbers and nobody wanted to play with them. Like, you need to just start with 3 tribes because starting with 2 it creates especially with 20 people. If you start with 2 on maybe like a 16-person season, that's different. But to start with 2 tribes on a 20-person season, you just get that crazy mentality of like, I'll just latch onto these people and I'm riding to the final 8 and then I'll try to play.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't have to play for the first half of the season, essentially. I think they're also very lucky. I'm glad you brought up the breaking it out into 3 tribes. I think they're very lucky with how last season went. And we had talked about that, how they merged, like they went 3. What did they do? I don't even remember. What did they go? 3-2-3? They went 3-3.
3-3-1. Yeah, they went
merge. And I think they're lucky with how well that turned out. And look what happened. Like there was a bit of a healer's Pagonging at the beginning of the merge, but then after that, it was kind of a crapshoot. So I like it. I think. Sorry, I just think like you said, when there's one tribe that just decimates everybody else, that tribe doesn't have to play until the final 8.
And even like somebody like JP last year, who was a very boring character on the show, got way more screen time than we're seeing from Chelsea. Feels like got more screen time than Jenna. Feels like more screen time than Libby. Like,
And
we knew where JP's head was at.
And you want to tell me that Chelsea's more boring than JP?
I mean, come on.
Like, that's ridiculous.
Exactly. I mean, and that's
and if you're
nothing on JP, but
like, guess what? Chelsea's pretty cute too.
Yeah, when JP talked, it was like, okay, like he's just saying what you're supposed and stuff, and whatever. But
yeah,
like
things like that, yeah.
Things like that, yeah. But then you have Chelsea, who, like, when she talks and it's not in a confessional, she seems like she's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. It's ridiculous.
Okay, so let's real quick. Let me ask, because I know it's 1 a.m. for you, and we kind of have just babbled about so much. I knew this was gonna be a negative podcast, but what do you think? Do they bring back this split again, or is this something that you just it's too much of a risk?
The way that they did this tribal tonight,
Yeah.
I think they bring it back. I liked it. I liked the twist. I'm gonna put that out there.
See, I still wish, though, like, I still think the best way to do it in a season where you have 3 tribes is just do the 2 losing tribes go to tribal. And I still don't understand why we haven't seen that. But just have those 2 tribes go to tribal council, each vote somebody off, and then we can move forward and vote one person off at a time. Because in tonight's episode, the one thing I didn't like is the split I'm okay with. I don't like that it was random. I almost wish they could somehow find a way to do like a Gabon rank 'em thing, where it's like rank them 1 to 10, everybody stand out there, whoever got the most votes for being like the most likely to win the game or something like that. Like, really, like, put some strategy behind it. Give me like the 5 people most likely to win the game. Do you know what I mean? Like, because think about this. If you're at this final 10 and you know they're going to split it, we didn't even see the random draw. We heard from Dominic that it was random. For all we know, they could have just been like, you, come here. Like, I don't think that happened, but it's funny. We literally don't see it. How much better is it if they all go off on their own, they scribble something on a notepad like they used to do, like who is most likely to win the game of Survivor?
Great challenge.
And they all write down who they think is most likely, and the person with the most votes goes up on top. Second most goes second, and then you have your 5 people, just like you did tonight anyway, your 5 most likely to win people in one tribal council, and maybe your least 5 likely to win in another tribal council. Or you do this at final 12, and you split it as the top 3 and the bottom 3 and the middle 3 of each go together. I think that this is something you could work with and finagle a little bit to put some strategy behind it. Because let's say tonight, Dominic got the most votes to be most likely to win Survivor. Out of everybody out there, they're already saying it's going to be Dominic. Or Dominic is like the most strategic or something, whatever you want to call it, whatever makes it fair. But Dominic gets the most and Kelyn gets the 5th most. And in between is Wendell, Michael, and Laurel. Kelyn's going to be saying to herself, wow, like they actually don't think I can beat these people. I need to get these people out of the game. And somebody like Sebastian, who might be in 10th place, is like, I got to make something happen here. I got to prove my worth.
Exactly.
Instead, you just do a random draw and it does nothing. It really doesn't do anything.
I'm glad you brought up that challenge where you vote on who, like the superlative challenge. I miss that challenge so much. And I get that it's a quote unquote broken challenge, but it's very easily fixable, just like the auction, which I will continue to bring up until it comes back. But like you said, it just adds a little bit of spice. When Courtney had her rude awakening that she was the most annoying and what was she, a poser? She was a smelly, she was a whole shebang. She was like, oh my God, everyone here hates me. She had no idea that everybody hated her, which again speaks to her perception of herself. But it always gives people a good awakening, and it's always a good reward challenge. And then it makes the immunity challenge more fun. It just adds a dynamic. And guess what? It inadvertently shows us how they all feel about each other without wasting time on character moments. It kills 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah, and I think that you don't even have to do an entire reward challenge based around it. Just have them do it like almost like a chopping of coconuts thing or something, but like just have them do one little thing that picks the order for themselves. Maybe they don't even realize that they're picking the order for that reason, but Jeff says, before we get today's immunity challenge, everybody take a piece of paper and write down who you think is most likely to win. And everybody goes, why the hell are we doing this? Or like, who you think is least deserving to win Survivor. Why are we doing this? This makes no sense. Why are we doing this? You can't vote for yourself. Why are we doing this? And then all the votes come out, and he goes, okay, now line up in order from most likely to win, least likely to win. Go. And they line up, and then they find out now you've been split 5 and 5. Okay, the 5 who are most likely to win the game are actually all going to tribal, and the 5 who are least likely to win are going to tribal. And I know this sounds ridiculous because then you're guaranteed to get rid of one of the most likely to win people at Final 5. But that's what happened tonight anyway.
It lights a fire under their butt too, so then it changes everything.
Yeah. And it happened tonight anyway, and it lets the other 5 people know, like, guys, we need to, like, wake up. Like, we need to do something.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good idea.
I know it is.
I like the Guatemala swap too. That was always a great swap because that was a bit of the superlative challenge. And then when Jeff went to okay, so who's like the most proud of their tribe? It was Brian and I think Danny. It was Brian and someone else.
And then they ended up being the leaders.
They ended up being the leaders. Like that was fantastic. Like just spice it up a little bit.
No, I agree. And it's a congratulations. You get to stay here along with like the 2 people who were showering or whatever it was.
Yeah, I know. It's like, shit, why didn't I get to shower?
Yeah, I shouldn't have done this or whatever it ended up being. But no, I think you're right. And I think that they're on a little bit of a right track here. I think they can get away with doing a split and like making that a thing, like going from merge to, okay, now we want to mix it up because we're trying to avoid like Pagongings and stuff. But at the same time, like it was 3-2 original Davidi on both. And it's like they're still so blinded in their ways, and I still don't get it. Like I still just don't get it. But I'm telling you, that was the end. Everybody, I'm pretty confident that was the end of this Navidi strong thing because I really do think we've heard so much about Laurel, Donathan, Wendell, and Dominic that I would be like really shocked if that doesn't come to at least a little bit of fruition.
I think we're done with it. It just to me like. And I've said this a couple times this season, but on a season full of super fans, it's just very, very weird that the majority of them were so quick to just jump on this. Sorry, it's 1 a.m. and I'm clearly not thinking about Survivor. Everyone to just jump on this Pagonging train because we were like going through the preseason. We're like, okay, these are all massive Survivor fans, huge super fans. Are going to do a lot of crazy stuff, and they're not.
I don't even. Yeah, it's like they're so set in stone. It's like the South Pacific cult like mentality of like Navidi. But at the same time, like I do think that the cast. I still think this is a good cast. I think that too much happened.
Not doing what we want. Yeah.
And I think Navidi getting the 2-person advantage, and then Bradley and Kelyn and everything, the way that shaped up, that's what ended up screwing it because they were the ones who were so gung ho on. Let's vote out the Malolos. If they could win 1 more challenge or 2 more challenges and that other tribe goes instead of watching Brendan and then Stephanie and James, or I know James was after a swap, but I'm telling you, Bradley going home put a big damper on this season. Like, and I'm not just saying that. Him going home put a big damper on the season because this pre-merge, it's a lot like One World. The pre-merge was better when the guy that you didn't want to watch on your TV was on it. And once that person was gone, the drop was so noticeable because the people who wanted to win the game just ran it from there. Colton is one of like the most despised Survivor players ever. And I get it. I mean, he quit the second time. But if you go back and watch One World, that pre-merge is actually really good. And it's really good because Colton is out of his mind. And he's causing drama, and he's being an instigator, and he's making people play the game. And it's so entertaining, and as soon as he's gone, there is nobody to stand up to Kim, except for Troyzan, and Troyzan had no shot because one idol and being in your late 40s is not going to get you to the end. And that's exactly what happened here. Once Bradley went home, it was like, oh, great. Now it's Chris versus Dominic, and once one of them is gone, who is there to oppose Dominic and Wendell?
Chris versus Dominic was a whopping singular episode.
Exactly.
There you go.
That's it. That's all I'm saying. I this was a very angry podcast from Phil. I'll be honest.
This was. Do you want to do MVP, LVP? We're at about an hour.
I only have Kelyn, so she's MVP. I just want to stress Kelyn should not be LVP because she did do the right thing for herself. And this isn't because she's on my team. It's because it's the right move. If Michael plays an idol tonight and Kelyn doesn't put her extra vote and her vote on Laurel, and she's assuming, probably correctly, I don't know why Laurel and Michael didn't vote together, and we need to hear this, but she's assuming Laurel and Michael are both voting for her, which wasn't wrong. I don't know why Michael didn't vote for Kelyn. Then she ensures that there's a tie, there gets to be a revote, and she makes sure that Dominic and Wendell can vote out Laurel in that situation. So I think that this is just the right move, and for everything she did at camp that might make you be like, oh my God, like why was she being so paranoid? Why was she being like this? Blah, blah, blah. I still think she made the right move at Tribal, and I'm going to go out and I'm just going to say, who should be LVP instead? I'm
going to put it on Angela.
Because she didn't do anything.
I'm gonna let you argue with the group chat, and I'm just going to put it on Angela and give MVP to Wendell.
Is the group chat saying Kelyn?
I don't know. I just know that you really are annoyed with it, and I think it's really funny.
I mean, yeah, everybody is saying Kelyn. I mean, it's just like, it's not though. Like, it's blatantly not. Like, if you actually think about it and like don't let like her like whining get in your head, it's 100% like not Kelyn. She made 100% the right move tonight. Like,
who do you have for MVP? Oh, Kelyn.
No, I mean, she's on my tribe. That's the only reason I said it. She's actually not the MVP.
Oh, Vaughn and I both lost someone. We evened it out.
The comeback begins.
Yeah, there it is. How many
What night was tonight?
I was about to ask.
Hang on, let me look at the Survivor Wiki.
All right, you know what? You can do that for me. It's 1 a.m, so I'm not.
Yeah, I'll get it. Don't worry about it. I'll get that. Who would you say is MVP of this episode?
I'm going to give it to Wendell because 1, he's on my team. 2, he voted correctly, got rid of Michael, and nobody knows that him and Laurel are BFFs.
I think Wendell's a good choice for it.
It could be Wendell. It could be Dominic.
It could be Dominic.
Couple MVPs floating around because Dominic won immunity. Yeah, actually, Wendell dropped out of immunity, which I am actually never a supporter of.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like if you're looking at that,
Dominic hasn't won MVP yet.
Dominic and Wendell also knew that Kelyn was never going to vote with the other two, so they were probably just like, "What the hell do we care?"
Whatever.
Yeah, and like if Malolo's going to vote out anybody, it's going to be the person that is heavily against Malolo, which is Kelyn. So like, what do we care?
Exactly.
I was shocked at how bad Michael did in that challenge, though. He did really bad, and I wonder why. That was shocking.
I think that was a surprisingly difficult challenge.
I still think though it's like all arm strength, and Jeff even said that, and like Michael was like one of the first 2 people out. Like what?
Yeah, he was out pretty fast. And Chelsea, I mean, actually, I guess Chelsea does have some good arm strength. Her arms are just extremely skinny.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Chelsea's got a lot of I think mental strength. I think that's where a lot of hers comes in. I think she's
Wouldn't
just
that
very
be
mentally
cool to
strong.
like actually know that though?
Imagine if she like said something along the lines of like,
know that like she was
a mental giant.
I'm a mental giant.
Yeah.
Yeah, would be cool. Maybe we should tweet at her.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We are probably the podcast that has spoken the most about Chelsea. We've probably spent like 45 minutes on Chelsea tonight, which you know what? At least somebody did.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm looking at who's left, and I honestly think, Alexa, it might not be a bad idea to just cut out LVP next year because there is really but really there is no LVP tonight. If you look at the group, like Angela didn't do anything, but she didn't do anything wrong either. Chelsea won immunity. Dominic won immunity. Donathan played his idol wrong, so maybe it could be Donathan because he lost an ally.
He did play his idol wrong.
He played his idol wrong. He was very snappy, which we saw, which I thought was kind of funny.
I thought that made him an MVP.
That was funny, but then he was wrong. I mean, it makes him the MVP if he's right, but he was wrong. And Jenna goes home anyway. And then I don't know. Like I
also half the time people give LVP to the person who was voted out.
Well, honestly, at this point, people are just giving it to Kelyn because I'm so hard against it being Kelyn. But I'm telling you,
you gotta let it roll off your back.
No. You have to defend it because you know what? Even if she becomes LVP,
defending yourself against internet trolls is not the move.
Well, if they're internet trolls, that's fine. Also, for anybody who had that one internet troll, we're not going to say their name, but he was posting fake spoilers. It wasn't a real spoiler. That guy is he's an absolute moron. Probably the lowest. Has
been blissfully not spoiled.
Yeah, but no, there was somebody who was going on every comment on our last video and posting like a comment.
Oh,
and
really?
like that's
that's
like the lowest life form. You know what I mean? I mean that's just stupid.
That's
like go away.
Absolutely massive waste of time. It was a beautiful 80 degrees outside. Why was this
Could you imagine? Like I'm hoping that person's living at the North Pole. Otherwise, like they have some serious issues and they should seriously get them checked out because they have something wrong with them. So yeah. But yeah, actually, if you really think about it, and we can't do LVP for the people who got voted out, but the LVP tonight were the two people who got voted out. I mean, Michael really underperformed in the challenge, and then like Jenna just
IDK
didn't have a relationship with Sebastian. I don't get it.
Maybe it blossomed on Ponderosa, assuming Sebastian makes Ponderosa. TBD.
Spoilers. Sebastian's gonna make it to Ponderosa. There's that man. If anybody makes it to the final three, I think you're onto it. Where like it could be Chelsea.
I
Like
think
where
it's
it's
Chelsea.
just like, how did this happen? But Sebastian's not gonna make final three. Could you imagine him trying to explain himself to the jury?
It would be awesome. You're telling me you wouldn't have fun watching that?
I don't know what we would be watching. That's the problem.
Actually, you know what? I want Chelsea to make it to the final three because I want to hear her talk.
You think they would give her any screen time, or you think she would just end up pulling the Troy's in? Where she's like, "Hey guys, thanks."
By the way, I'm still here in case anybody was wondering.
Guys, I'm here.
All right. I would do some comments, but it's 1:15 at this point.
Yeah, no, I'm down. I'm down to just go away.
All right, maybe we can do a couple on Sunday. So with that, we'll be back this Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time with a survivor. We had a 2-week hiatus, even though Vaughn was wonderful. We will have a survivor this Sunday, so we'll announce that this weekend. In the meantime, vote on this video or tweet at us, post on Facebook who you think the MVP and the LVP of the episode is. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. We are at 3,405 YouTube subscribers. So we hit that 3,400 mark, which is super exciting. Keep hitting that subscribe button. Keep telling your friends, and we'll be back this Sunday night.
Bye.
Bye.